Hi everyone, Katie here from Pilates Physio Cork. Here to give you your next postnatal Pilates class. Hope you're all staying sane and coping with this strange situation we're in. And I'm here just to try and help you keep moving, stay strong in this time when we're all stuck at home. So we're going to do the postnatal exercises we would have been doing this week if we were all able to meet up together. So hopefully you can find a little bit of space, maybe some solitude, but if you can't find that, that's just fine. Do it with everyone around, maybe they'll even join in. But the most important thing is that we just keep moving and getting some exercise. Just remember that with all of the exercises, you need to be symptom-free and able to breathe throughout. So if for any reason that you have symptoms during some of the exercises, then you need to modify it so that you can be symptom-free. That means no pain, no leaking, no feeling of any pressure through the pelvic floor or doming. And that you're able to breathe the whole time. So if you can't, then make sure you modify it, change something so that you can, and that you are symptom-free. And if you can't find a way of making that the case, then move on to the next exercise, just give that one a skip. Okay, so I hope you enjoy these next few exercises. Okay, so we're going to start lying on our backs in crook lying. If you have a mat or a soft surface, then you can use that. I find that mine is a little bit too sticky for some of the moves, and I prefer having a frictionless surface, so whatever works for you. And if you want, you can have a pillow or a cushion under your head, but again, I find that mine is pushing me forward too much, so I'm better without. So just play around and see what works with what you've got at home. We're going to start with just a little bit of relaxation because I think we probably all need that at this point. So just lying on your back, let everything relax into the floor. Think of your head, neck and shoulders all really heavy, melting down through the floor. So you're letting go of any tension you're holding there. Same through the hips and the back, just letting go of any tension that is creeping in through the abdominals, just letting go of everything. And notice what's happening with your breathing as you do that. So just noticing what's moving as you breathe. If you like, you could put a hand onto your tummy and a hand onto your chest. And just noticing what's moving as you breathe in and out. And what we want is expansion the whole way around the rib cage, so from side to side and front to back. If you find there's not much of that happening, then just check, can you relax your abdominals? Can you relax your shoulders a little bit more? Does that change anything? Maybe see, can you relax your pelvic floor as well? If you notice you're holding any tension there. Just spend a minute or two trying to find that nice relaxed breath quality. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring the arms down by the sides. And we're going to find a neutral position. So lengthening the back of the neck slightly, imagining you're holding a peach between your chin and your chest. Just move the shoulders away from the ears, think of the shoulder blades into the back pockets. Softening the ribs down, melting them down towards your abdominals. And we're going to tilt the pelvis forward and back to find that midpoint neutral position. So you don't want your back flat to the floor, but you don't want it arched away either. Just nice and central. And we're going to do scissors in this position. So the aim is to keep the pelvis and the trunk completely still as we move the legs. So take a breath in to prepare, and then as you breathe out, lift the heel and float the leg up into single tabletop. And then we're going to breathe in as we float the leg back down again. And then the same thing on the other side. Breathe out as you float the leg up. And breathe in as you float the leg back down again. And breathe out as you lift the heel and float up. Breathe in as you're floating the leg back down. So we're just alternating side to side, going for about 8 repetitions. But if you need to stop sooner due to symptoms or fatigue, then that's fine. Or if you feel like that's not enough for you yet, then you can carry on and do more repetitions. We're going for about 8 to 10 on each side. And we're trying to not let the back flatten into the floor or arch away. And also to avoid any movement from side to side. So as you float your left leg up, you don't want to feel like the right hip is pushing down more weight through that side. That would make all those marbles tilt, and you don't want that to happen. So just keeping that imaginary tray completely still. You may feel those lower tummy muscles engaging to give you that stability. If you can't feel that and you're really struggling to keep that pelvis still, as long as it's appropriate for you, you don't have any issues with hyperactivity in the pelvic floor, then you could recruit that intentionally. So before you lift the leg next time, breathe out, tighten around the back passage, draw up inside you just gently, and then maintain that as you float the leg up and float the leg back down. And just see, does that give me any more stability around the pelvis? Can I keep my tray of marbles more still? But if that's not appropriate for you or it doesn't feel effective, then just think about keeping neutral and keeping breathing, and your core muscles will be working and will be getting stronger. So let's do one more time on each side. Keeping breathing the whole time. And then we're going to move on to a one leg stretch combined with a hip twist. So two of the exercises we did in the last video, we're going to put them together. So just check everything is still relaxed. You're still in neutral. You can tilt back and forth and find that if you need to. And then we're going to breathe in to prepare. Breathe out as you slide your heel along the floor. And then breathe in as you come back to start position. Breathe out as one knee goes out to the side just as far as you can without this opposite hip twisting and following it. So you're trying to keep that tray of marbles still the whole time. We're going to stick to one side. We're going to do 8 repetitions on one side, and then we'll switch over and do the other leg. So the whole time, keeping neutral, keeping the trunk and the pelvis still, and trying to keep relaxed through the upper body and keeping breathing. So again, you may feel those lower tummy muscles engaging just to give you that stability as you're trying to not let the pelvis move with the leg. That's what the core muscles are going to be doing, providing that stability. And that's the reason for trying to keep us in neutral, because that's what the way that we're getting the core muscles to work. So one more time on this leg. I might have lost count. And then we'll go to the other side. So on the left leg, still keeping neutral, keeping breathing, and relaxing through the head, neck and shoulders. You might find that tension keeps on creeping back in to the upper body, so just keep on going back and checking that, reminding yourself, relax through the head, neck and shoulders, keep breathing. So if you find that you're holding your breath whenever you check that, then it can be really helpful to cue the movement with the breath. So that's when breathing out as you slide your leg away and breathing in as you come back to the start can really help you to avoid that breath holding. But if you find that too confusing, then just making sure you're breathing the whole time is absolutely fine. It doesn't matter if it's not at the same time that I'm saying breathe in or breathe out. Just don't hold your breath. One more time. And keeping those marbles still. Great. Okay, so we're going to move on to a shoulder bridge. And for this exercise, if you have it, a pillow or a ball between your knees can be helpful, but if you don't have something handy, that's fine. You can do this just fine without. So it's often better to bring your heels a little closer to your bum than you might have had them already, because that will help us to bias the glutes rather than the hamstrings for your shoulder bridge. So check everything is nice and relaxed into the floor. You're in your neutral position with your peach, your shoulder blades, your ribs, and your pelvis. We're going to breathe out and squeeze the bum muscles together, flatten the back into the floor, and vertebra by vertebra, peeling off the floor. Just keeping a gentle squeeze on your cushion or your ball if you have one. And then we're going to soften the breastbone down to the floor, and vertebra by vertebra, we go all the way back down again. So from the start again, we're going to breathe out as you squeeze the glutes together, flatten the back, and peeling the vertebra off the floor, all the way up to your diagonal line. And then we're going to keep the hips high as long as we can, soften the breastbone down, vertebra by vertebra, we're lowering back down. So really important to keep breathing the whole time, and just keep checking. Are the head, neck and shoulders getting tense? Really, really common to start holding a lot of tension around the neck as you're trying to get that segmental movement through your spine. So just keep on checking back with that. Really make sure you're squeezing the buttocks together before you start to lift, especially if you're noticing that you're feeling this in the back of the thighs, in the hamstrings, more than in the bum. Then Make sure you're squeezing the buttocks because that's switching on the muscles that we want to be doing this job. So we want to get them firing so that they take over and your hamstrings aren't feeling it and aren't cramping. If you're still finding you're cramping, you could just move those heels a little closer to the bum again. And if that still doesn't solve it, then just take a rest, stretch out the hamstrings, and maybe come back to it in a little bit. So one more time like this, squeezing the buttocks, coming up to the top, and then back down again. Great. So we're going to carry on with the shoulder bridge, but this time we're going to add in a heel lift. You don't need the ball or the pillow there now. So again, just check you're nice and relaxed. You've got your neutral position. Start with a breath in, and then we're going to squeeze the bum muscles together. Flatten it back into the floor as you breathe out, and then segmentally, vertebra by vertebra, we're peeling off the floor all the way up to the top. Now trying to keep those hips level, we're going to lift one heel and then back down, and then the same with the other heel and back down. And then flatten the breastbone to the floor and vertebra by vertebra all the way back down. So just keeping breathing throughout. That will be more than one breath. Just keep your breath nice and relaxed. So again, squeeze the bum muscles, flatten the back into the floor, vertebra by vertebra, coming up to the top. Now, if you find that it's too hard to do both sides, then you can just do one heel and come back down. And then on your next repetition, do the other side. But if you've got the endurance and you're able, then do the right and then the left, and then do come down out of your shoulder bridge. So again, we're going to squeeze the bum muscles together, flatten the back in the floor, vertebra by vertebra up to the top, lifting one heel and down, trying to keep relaxed through your head, neck and shoulders, and down, and then flatten vertebra by vertebra all the way back down, and relax. So make sure you start each one with a squeezing the buttocks together, flatten the back into the floor, vertebra by vertebra up. Just check at the top of my head, neck and shoulders relaxed. Lifting one heel, keeping those hips level. So try to make sure you're not dropping one side as you lift your heel, but you're keeping these two knobbly hip bones the same level as each other. Let's do two more like that. Keeping breathing. And just keep on checking in. It's so easy to let the head, neck and shoulders start to tense up throughout this. And last one. Lifting the right heel and down, trying to keep the hips high the whole time. And then keeping them high to the very end of the last thing to come down. So those bum muscles are really working the whole way through it. Great. Okay, we're just going to stretch out the hamstrings now. So if you pull your knee towards you and then straightening the knee to hold the lower leg if you're able, you want to feel the stretch at the back of the thigh behind the knee. If you can't reach there, then you can hold on to your leggings or something like that. And you're aiming to try and straighten that knee. But it doesn't matter how straight you get, you're just wanting to get to the point where you feel a stretch at the back of your leg. So just get to the point where you feel that stretch and then hold it there. And for some of you, you might find that you need to hug the thigh down and then try and straighten it. It doesn't really matter what range you get to. The aim is that we're feeling that stretch at the back of the thigh, possibly the back of the knee as well. And just a gentle stretch, not pain. Keep breathing and relax into that stretch for about 30 seconds. So if you're feeling any cramp through the shoulder bridge, this should be easing that out. And then we do the same thing on the other side. So just hugging your thigh up towards your chest. Roll that around a little bit. And then we're going to straighten the leg out just to the point where you feel that stretch. Remember that if that's up here, that's fine. You're just trying to get so that you feel that stretch at the back of the leg. And then keeping breathing. It's so easy to tense up when you're stretching because you feel uncomfortable. If that's the case and you're finding you can't breathe properly, ease off a little bit. So you should feel gentle stretch but no pain and be able to breathe. So you're trying to relax into that. Stretch, letting the muscles lengthen and release. Good. And then relax. So we're going to move on to the next position in our class. So now we're going to turn over onto our fronts. Just come into a kneeling position to start with. You can stretch your arms out in front of you. So your bum is sinking down into your heels, your arms are stretched out. Let your head rest on the floor and think of your breastbone sinking down to the floor. So as you take a breath in, think of the sitting bones in your bum kind of spreading wider apart as the pelvic floor relaxes. And as you breathe out, think of the breastbone sinking down towards the floor. And just take a few breath cycles in that position as you feel that stretch through the upper back, through the arms. If you like, you can spread the knees a little bit wider apart and feel a bit of a stretch through the inside thighs as well. But obviously, if that gives you any pelvic curls, then you just bring them a little bit closer together again. So just enjoying that stretch position. One more breath cycle. So coming into 4-point kneeling with the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees directly underneath the hips. And we're just going to find a neutral position here. So think of the shoulders shrugging down towards your waist, pushing the floor away from you so the breastbone lifts, holding your peach between your chin and your chest, and then finding that neutral pelvis position. So you're nice and flat across the back. And we're going to do some push-ups in this position. So all you're going to do is bend the elbows as your face lowers down towards the floor, and then push the floor to come on back up again. So bending the elbows to lower down, push the floor as you come back up. And as I was saying last week, just trying to make sure that you don't let the back arch as you do that, or let the bum travel backwards, because then the legs are doing most of the work. We want to keep the work in the upper body. I know it burns, but we want to get strong. So keeping that weight through the arms, the shoulders directly over the hands. Now you don't have to go the whole way to the floor. So you can just bend the elbows a little bit and then push back up if that feels as far as you can manage and as far as you can control. Just keep breathing. Work within the range that you can. And as we get stronger, we'll be able to go lower and we'll be able to do more. But we just need to take it slowly and build that strength up. So symptom-free, able to breathe. Let's go 4 more if you can. Keeping breathing. Keeping that neutral. Last one. Great. Now we're just going to tuck the toes underneath, taking a breath in to prepare. And as you breathe out, we're going to hover the knees off the floor and then breathe in as you lower back down. So finding that neutral position, breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you hover the knees up, and breathe in as you lower back down. So breathe out as you hover up, and breathe in as you lower back down. Now if that's feeling easy, then you can hold that hover, so you can breathe out as you hover up, and hold it there as you breathe in and out, and then lower back down. Try and keep that lower down as controlled as you can. So you're going to hover up, and instead of plonking back down again, which will hurt your knees, we want to try and keep nice and controlled. So we lower, 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 nice and slow and gentle. So again, we're going to breathe in to prepare, breathe out and hover, and breathe in as you lower down. One more time. Breathe out as you hover, and breathe in as you come back down. Great. Now let's stretch out that upper back. We're really feeling it up there. Going to thread the needle. So you're going to stretch your arm up to the ceiling. Can't see from me here. My arm is reaching straight up, looking at my hand. And then we're going to thread between the arm and the body. Let the head and the shoulder and the arm all rest on the floor. And just breathe. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So you stretching the arm up to the ceiling, look at your hand, and then slide the hand along the floor. Let your head, your shoulder, and your arm all rest. And breathe, and enjoy that stretch in your upper back. You can use this hand on the floor, just gently press. Get a little more rotation if that feels good for you. And then let's go again. We're going to alternate side to side. Reach and slide it through. And again, reaching up and slide it through. And it's quite nice to do a few repetitions just flowing through the movement, going as far as you can each way. And then on the next one, we're just going to pause and stay in that rotated position and take a few breaths in that end range stretch. So just here, little pressure through the palm on the floor, and just breathe so you're really enjoying that rotation through the upper back. Try and expand through the ribs. More and more breath cycle. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Hand up to the ceiling, really look at the hand. And then sliding through last time. And breathe in. Really trying to expand through the rib cage. Through the back of the ribs. One more time. And relax. Great. So now we're going to come back into 4-point kneeling and we're going to do a one leg stretch, but this time in 4-point kneeling. So again, slide the shoulders down, push the floor away, pelvis into neutral and holding your peach. Imagine you've got a tray of drinks that's balanced on your back and you want to try and keep them completely still. You don't want to spill a single drop. So we're going to breathe in to prepare, and then as you breathe out, we're going to slide one leg along the floor, sliding it out. My weight's through in the way. And then coming back to start position. I'm going to move this way slightly. And then the same thing on the other side. So keeping that tray of drinks still, we're going to slide the leg out. And then come back to start position. So we're going to alternate legs. And what you want to try and avoid is swapping your weight onto the stabilizing supporting leg. So as I slide my left leg out, I don't want to increase the weight through my right. Keeping it just the same, which means my core is having to take that extra load. So that's where you're really going to feel the work. Through the arms, through the core. Keep that sense of pushing the floor away from you. So your breastbone's lifting up away from the floor. And keeping breathing. And you're trying to get your legs moving as if they're in train tracks. So they should be going straight back behind you rather than out to the side. So in a straight line, let's do one more time each side. And keeping breathing. And last one. Great. And then we'll stretch back into a prayer stretch to finish off. Sitting the bum on the heels, stretching the arms out in front. Breathing in and out. And just relax in that position for a few breath cycles. If you like, you can wiggle the hips from side to side. Just feel a little bit of a stretch through the inside thighs. You could walk your hands around to the side. Take a breath in here. And walk your hands back to the center. Keep going around to the other side. And take another breath in. And out. So now we're going to come into standing. I want you to, I'm going to stand sideways so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Standing with your feet hip distance apart and just find that neutral position. So think of a helium balloon drawing you up towards the ceiling. Length through the back of the neck holding your peach. Shoulder blades drawing down into the opposite back pockets. Ribs are soft and your pelvis is into neutral. So tilt forward and back, find that neutral. Relax through the knees and think of your weight being evenly spread through your feet. So we're going to start with the foot series. I want you just to start with a knee bend, so nothing else. We're just going to bend the knees and come back up. And you're trying to keep that nice neutral position as you bend and straighten. So keeping a relaxed breath, and what you're looking out for is keeping the shoulders stacked over the hips, hips over knees as you bend, and not allowing this to happen. So that arch in the back, or this. So, and we're not going for a squat right now. All we're doing is just bending the knees and straightening. And by trying to do it with that control, we're going to be working the core muscles a little bit more. So it's similar to when we're doing our one leg stretch on the floor, but this time we're bringing it into standing. So just bending the knees, keeping neutral, and coming back up. And now we'll add in some arms, so floating the arms up as you bend, and back down. One more time like that. And then we're going to stay down in the knee bend, lift the heels, floating up and lowering back down. So we're challenging the coordination and the balance a little bit. Floating up and back down. So bend the knees, lift the heels, floating up, keeping those ribs soft so you're not coming like this, and then back down. So keeping those ribs soft and connected will help you to keep your balance there. And if that means your arms don't go all the way up straight to the ceiling, that's just fine. Keep it within a range that you can control. And one more time, we're going to bend, lift the heels, rising up and lowering down. So now we're going to slightly modify that into a triple extension squat. So we're going to start with the arms out in front. We are going to squat down. So now my bum is going back and the arms are swinging down to the floor. Back up, everything straight, and rise on 2 toes, you're reaching to the ceiling. So then bending the knees, bum goes back, arms down, up to the ceiling, rise on your toes. So bending the knees, squat, and then everything up tall. Bending the knees, squat, everything up tall. So you can bend down as low as you feel able, but remember you need to be symptom free the whole time. So if that means you want to keep it a little bit smaller, not bend quite so low, that's fine. Work at the level that's right for you right now. So these moves are starting to become a little bit more functional, working through ranges and positions and movement patterns that we'll be using in our normal lives every day. So we need to get strong to be able to move, pain-free, and keep breathing as we go about our normal lives. One more time, and up. Great. So now we're going to go into a side lunge. So starting from your neutral position, we're going to step out to the side, think of your bum going back, and then push through that heel to come back up again. So stepping out to the side, push through the heel to come up. So from the side you can see my hips are going back and then pushing back up. So make sure it's pain-free. If you've got any pelvic girdle pain, you could make it a little bit smaller. And if that is still painful, then maybe this isn't right for you at the moment. Move on to the next exercise. But if you can, then just reduce the range so that you can keep going with the movement. If that's feeling fine, then you can add in a weight. So if you have a weight at home, you could use that, just stepping out to the side and back up. If you don't have like a dumbbell or a kettlebell or anything like that, that feels like an appropriate weight for you to work with pain-free and able to breathe, then you could just use something a little bit lighter that you have around the house, like a tin of beans or a bag of flour or any of those things with a little bit of weight in them. So if you are working with a weight, we can start to reach out a little bit. Even if you're not, then you can do that without the weight, just starting to stretch the arms out as you're lunging to the side. So without the weight, you just be going like this, still with that side lunge and pushing up through the heel. So as you push through the heel to come up, you feel the bum working. And one more time on that side. Great. And then we'll move over to the other side. So just find your neutral, stepping out, bum going back, push through the heel. Stepping out and back up. Bum going back, push back up. Keeping breathing the whole time. If that's feeling okay, then you can add in your weight. And you can either keep it close to the body, or maybe do to start with. And then as you see, does that feel okay? Then we start to reach the arms out a little bit. Again, we're making it more functional. How many times do you suddenly have to try and reach and grab somebody as they're taken off across the car park? So we need to be strong for that kind of reaching movement, especially when you're carrying a heavy nappy bag and maybe another child as well. So we need to be strong for this movement with a weight. But we need to build that up slowly. So If you're not ready for that yet, then just leaving the weight out and starting to reach the arms. So we're getting through that range and just getting everything stretching out. So you may see I'm varying which direction I'm reaching in, because again, that's more functional. We want to keep varying it. We can reach down to the foot as well, reaching out in front, and one more time. So hopefully you're getting a bit out of breath with that one, like I am, and that's what we're aiming for. So now we're going to do the same thing. We'll start without the weight, and this time with a forward lunge. So from your neutral position, we're going to step forward, drop that knee down, push through this heel to come back up. So step forward, push back. Step forward, push back up. And then we're going to start, like we did with the last one, to add in a reach down to the foot and back up. And then out in front of you and back up. And then up to the sky and back up. And again, it must be pain-free and able to breathe. So if that means that you need to make it a little bit smaller, just take a smaller step, not bend right down to the floor, that's fine too. So you could keep it in this range and make your reach a little bit smaller to make sure that you're pain-free. And then we'll switch over to the other leg. So step, push through the heel, stepping out, push through the heel. And if you feel able, then when you add in your reach, you could add the weight in at that point as well. But remember, you want to be symptom-free and make sure you're using a weight that's appropriate for you. Keeping breathing the whole time. One more to the sky. And finish. So our final exercise is standing. We're going to do a deadlift. So I'm standing sideways again so you can see me better. You can do this without a weight if you don't have anything, or if you're feeling you have any symptoms with it, then just do the movement pattern, but not with a weight. But if it's feeling all right and you have something appropriate, it doesn't have to be a proper weight. It can be anything around the house that feels like there's a little bit of weight, but you're still symptom free. Then we're going to hold that weight in front of us. And we're going to start, take a breath in to prepare, and then as you breathe out, think of the bum going backwards. So it's not a squat, thinking of the bum travelling back, sliding your hands down your shins, and then back up to the start position. So if you see my bum is going backwards towards the plant, and then my hands are sliding down the shins and back up to straight. So bum going back, hinging at the hips, sliding the hands down the shins, and then back up to the start position. So hinging at the hips. You might get a little softness through the knees, just at the end of the range, and back up. So we're trying to get nice and slow on the way down. As you're getting that lengthening of the muscles through load, you want to slow that down, and then you can come up to the top nice and quick. It doesn't really matter how fast you do that phase. Trying to slow this lowering down as much as you can. And this is working your glutes and your hamstrings. So that's where you'll start to feel it. Just keeping breathing the whole time. Think of those shoulder blades just staying down in your back pockets. And one more time. And that's it. Well done. Great work, everyone. So keep moving.